You read the title. I'm going to be ranking every single episode of Invincible. And this is going to be a long-ish one. Hopefully it's not too long. But, I don't really have much to say. Oh, I'm not ranking the Adam E special. My bad. But, other than that, I don't see a means to just not get into it. Okay, I'm not going to be saying the episode titles because I'm going to be so frank. Invincible is terrible names for episodes. I think it's immensely late. Two things I hate about episode titles is when they just name it chapter, like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. I think it's incredibly lazy. But another one I think is maybe even more just as lazy is when you just take a line from an episode. Like, just come up with a title. Anyways, at my bottom, number 32, I have Season 2, Episode 2, aka the fish episode. As much as people rag on Herm for being filler, it's not. But as much as people hate on it for it, this episode is more filler. It's not good. It's filler, but it's not good filler. Technically it's not filler because you learn about Darkwing too. And also the fish noise thingy, like the noise that hurts Viltrumites. But it's who cares? Honestly, it's important, but this episode and the story is just not that good. It just feels like a bunch of side quests that no one really cares about in a weirdly and poorly written story. I never really liked this episode, and honestly, I think Herm got way too much hate for being the worst episode of the series. While it's one of the worst, it's not worse than this. Another one that's not worse than is the Dragon episode, or Season 3, Episode 5. Yeah, I never really liked this episode. I just thought it was a really big miss. I'll say this. The Titan storyline is my least favorite storyline in the entire show. Even, the Herm and the fish storyline, yeah, they're not good. This is the only one where I'm just it's bad. It's really bad. I'm not a fan. I don't know what else to say. I just don't like it. There's one episode that I have highly rated that has Titan storyline, and that's only because of something that happens at the end. It has nothing to do with Titan, because I think Titan is a poorly written character. I think all the characters around him are either just really annoying or not that well written either. And his storylines are always just so boring, such a slog to get through. This episode, the only reason why it's not my least favorite in the entire series is because it's held up by some good writing with Rex and Ray stuff. But that's really all I remember. And Mr. Lee's Dragon is one of the instances of absolutely terrible power scaling throughout this series. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. This show is terrible power scaling. Everyone knows it, and everyone makes pathetic excuses to defend it. Anyways, now we're at the number 1 biggest hated episode, most hated episode, Herm. Yeah, it's not good. I just say it was solid. I said in my first review, it's solid, it's good. No, it's not. What's the last episode? It's a 6.5 out of 10. Anyways, I was it was solid, it's good. No, it's not. It is I still hold my critiques of it is a lazy, it's a poorly paced, pretty useless episode. Well, the critique that it's filler is not a good critique, because it's not filler. It technically does progress Mark's story and helps world building. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to critique that it's filler. I'm going to critique that how it progresses Mark's storyline isn't that impactful, and that the world building isn't good and it's useless. I don't think we're ever going to need the 6 ages thing again, so it honestly just feels like some pretty useless lore and kind of expository dialogue. I don't get the point. We're doing something that is literally just detracting from our story. We don't care. This doesn't affect anything at all. It's just useless. But honestly, that's not even my biggest critique for the episode. It's really ugly. This episode is one of the worst in animation. We all know about the Cerberus fight scene and the hole falling scene. It's pure laziness. They're, I know there's hardworking animators at Invincible. By the way, Invincible does not have 4 animators. I said this before. Invincible has over 100 animators. Anyone who says Invincible has 4 animators, shut up. They have 4 compositors, not 4 animators. Anyways, like, this episode is just incredibly lazily produced. I'm sorry. You just don't show. The animation is slow, it's poor, it's too dark and moody. It just doesn't work well, and it's just very bland in what it looks like. Even scenes where it's not just PNGs moving, it's still just really bland, and it's just very, very lazy. Honestly, this episode felt very unnecessary. If I had to give a comparison, it felt like the bottle episode in Daredevil Born Again, Season 1, except that episode is actually well written, unlike this one. Anyways, I say that because it's an episode where technically it isn't filler, as that episode, I'm talking about the Daredevil one, that episode did develop Matt's character slightly, and it brought him out just ever so closer to becoming Daredevil again. Just as this episode somewhat develops Mark and how he develops back to his original costume, which I also have a few flaws with. I think they should have kept the glove and the knee pads changed, but I don't know why they didn't. But anyways, things like that are neat. I think that is fine. But like, there's a reason why that episode of Daredevil is the lowest rated entire series. Actually, technically, Shoot the Moon is lower rated, which I'm not even gonna get into that. But there's a reason why that's the lowest rated of the series, and it's because it's pre-fillery. I mean, sure, it's a well-written episode on its own, but you don't even get any other character other than Matt. Just as here, you only get Invincible, except for the very end. So, yeah, that's my critique for her. Anyways, at number 29, oh god, this is going to be a long one. At number 29 is Season 1, Episode 6. Amber. I guess I can end the review there. Also, D.A. Sinclair, no one really cares. Well, Mark is even worse about it in Season 3. I hate Mark in Season 3. He's just not a good villain. He doesn't work. All the character, like, William is a character that I've never really liked at all. If he had something interesting to do or was somewhat well written, maybe I would, but he's not. And his boyfriend, Rick, I don't care. I mean, like, I don't think the show ever really gets you too invested in Rick. I get how they try and parallel it with Donald's storyline, but it doesn't, in Season 2, but it doesn't work. Anyways, next is, also that was a 7.5 out of 10. Herm was a 6.7 out of 10. At number 28 is Season 1, Episode 4, the Martian episode. The Psycho storyline never really interested me, and neither did the Martians. I just found it was a good episode. No, these past 2 episodes, actually, this episode is definitely a good episode. But I do have problems with it. It's not, it's pretty flawed. I give it a 7.7 out of 10. At number 27 is Season 2, Episode 6. This one's just really forgettable. Like, do we remember anything from this episode? Do we, as a collective community, remember anything about this episode other than the Angstrom teaser at the end? The answer better be no. It's just quite forgettable. It's squashed between 2 pretty solid episodes. But yeah, I just don't really have much to say about it. I mean, yeah, it's a Season 2 episode, what can I say? At number 26, also it's an 8.1 out of 10. Here's where we're starting to get to episodes that I think are great, even though I may talk low about them. Anyways, at number 26 is Season 3, Episode 1. This is the biggest problem with power scaling in the entire series. And I don't care if your power scaling is like, oh, Thor took the power of a neutron star, which is, like, I think it's, millions of times more powerful than our sun. It's something crazy like that. I'm not big into neutron stars. Like, that powerful, but then he can't even, like, completely destroy a car when he attacks someone. Like, what? Like, he hit someone into a car and there's just a dent. Huh? Like, I don't care about that stupid power scaling. What I mean is, or like, sorry, when he, like, attacks Gore, it's only a moon level feat. Why is he not doing a star level feat? Like, that's stupid. What isn't stupid is how Doc Seismic is being a Viltrumite stronger than Anissa. Okay, well, he's not actually stronger than Anissa. You see, I think, like, Anissa, honestly, she's maybe the most underrated Viltrumite in strength, because, like, she beats a Mark, like, 40 issues, I think, after Mark beat Conquest. Just saying. Anyways, like, okay. So, Mark has already been an above-average Viltrumite. He beat, Thula, I think her name was. He beat Thula. And now he's only gotten, like, double as stronger. And Doc Seismic is knocking him out? He's being beat by Doc Seismic and his earthworms. What are you on about? I mean, like, seriously, what are we on about here? Doc Seismic cannot just beat a Viltrumite. Why aren't we getting Doc Seismic's tech and killing a Viltrumite with it? And you may be like, oh, but Michael's holding back. Holding back his durability? He was holding back his durability. Like, I'm sorry. And if you say, well, there's no Zeal issues in Invincible, and Doc Seismic is actually an incredibly powerful villain. Okay, it still demeans the lore of Viltrumites, in my opinion. I'm not having this, like, 80-year-old grandpa with some gloves that create earthquakes. Why are we beating these planet-destroying creatures? I know they're technically not planet-destroying, but still, that should not be a thing. It's stupid that it is. Otherwise, the episode's pretty good. So I'm going to give it an 8.2 out of 10. Anyways, Season 4, Episode 3, Titan storyline, so we know how I feel about that. But it's also just pretty forgettable in the grand scheme of things. It's very re-loopable with, like, I did like the Flaxen invasion. I thought that was neat and new. The Titan storyline, I don't care. We kind of had a pretty similar to this, and, like I said, Titan is never a good character. Mr. Liu is maybe the worst villain of the show. Machine Head I never find funny or interesting because he's not well written. And I just have a lot of problems with that. So, the Titan storyline really drags down what could have been a better episode. The reveal that Eve is pregnant is also pretty good, too. I'm also going to give it an 8.2 out of 10. Okay, what was it? Oh, Season 3, Episode 3. Another episode where I have some flaws about it. But overall, I thought it was pretty great. Like, the ending scene of Oliver killing the Maulers, and the conversation was slightly better in the comics, but it's still great here. Mark's still a hypocrite as always, because Mark sucks in Season 3. I will not let that down. I hate Mark. Like, I don't care if it fits his character. Doesn't mean he's not insufferable. Sorry. It makes me mad every time I think about it. But anyways, I think it's still a pretty great episode, so I'm going to give it an 8.4 out of 10. Number 23, Season 2, Episode 3. I really like the Alan adventure. Sure, the stuff with Mark is not interesting at all, but I really like the Alan adventure. Now, this episode is hurt by a good amount by the fact that the mole reveal, and I'm gonna rant about that later, within the stupid responses of Invincible fans I'm not saying all Invincible fans, I'm talking about the diehard ones who need to defend everything in the show, but I hate that mole reveal. I'll get to it later, but I think it does lessen every single episode with the Coalition in it, because the thing that your entire storyline's been leading up to has been completely useless. Anyways, I'm still gonna give it an 8.4 out of 10. It was at number 22 is Season 1, Episode 2, and I think it's a pretty great episode, you know? It's a nice backing off the crazy cliffhanger of Episode 1. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's some greatness in it that I can't remember or recall, but, like, overall, it's one of the not lesser ones of Season 1, but it's still great. Like, don't get me wrong, still a great episode. It's a great aftermath to the pilot. I'm just saying. It's not amazing. So, it gets an 8.5 out of 10. And number 21 is Season 2, Episode 7. This is the one where Anissa came over, where she came by and attacked Mark. That was a great scene. I thought it worked really well. And I really liked how it shows the threat of the Viltrumites, you know, things like that. And hints towards conquest, you know, all that jazz. There's some good things with Rex in this episode, I'm pretty sure. Oh, there's some good scenes with, like, Eve and even Amber, honestly. This is definitely Amber's best episode, and their breakup works well. I mean, I'm happy. Although, Eve and Mark's relationship turned Eve into a brick wall of a character, but hey, it's better than Amber, okay? Anything's better than Amber. So I'm gonna give it an 8.6 out of 10, you know? Which, next episode, which I think it's called You Think, are you calling me ugly, or you think, who do you think's ugly? Anyway, season 1, episode 3. Great episode. Nice Damien Darkblood stuff. I like that. The funeral scene with Omni-Man, it was all great. And I really liked it, you know? What can I say? What can I say? I don't know what I can say. But I'll say it. It was really great, you know? It was a great episode. I've been, like, some of these episodes I don't remember all that much because I saw them a year ago. But, yeah, I watched Invincible a year ago. Shame on me. But honestly, it was a great episode with a bunch of great components. Which, I was like, season 1 just consistently has, no, I won't say the best episodes, but it's pretty consistent because it actually has a through line and story unlike every other season up until the back half of season 4. Anyways, where am I at? Oh, it gets an 8.6 out of 10. Anyways, next is season 2, episode 1. I think it's a very slept-on episode. I thought the premiere worked really well. Angstrom Levy, this is like one of his only good episodes because he absolutely sucks in the Invincible War, and I will fight on that take. I'm going to talk about the Invincible War in a second. And I know I'm going to rate that episode highly. We're going to rant about it because I hate how much... I'll get to it. Anyways, I really like the multiverse stuff and the Maulers. I like the multiverse. Here's my thing. I think the multiverse is a good thing. Yes. Has it been utilized in some poor ways? That's true. Ant-Man Quantumania exists. But has it also given us some truly spectacular projects? Even, like, Loki, that's incredible. Loki, I think, is an incredible series. Secret Wars is the greatest comic book run of all time. And guess what that is? A multiverse book. And also, known as one of the best movies of the 2020s is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a multiverse movie. But we all hate the multiverse. Like, I think the multiverse is a brilliant concept, just used poorly by some people. Some is a clear word there. Anyways, I really liked this episode. I thought it was great. And I remember it had the running gag of the Invincible until Angstrom Levy said at the end. So it gets an 8.7 out of 10. Next is Season 4, Episode 1. I give it also an 8.7 out of 10. Well, the Universal stuff wasn't that interesting. And the Sequid stuff, wow, a bit repetitive. It did work. I think the vibe of this episode after what happened with Conquest, even though Mark can be a little bit hypocritical and annoying this episode, it still works really well. And overall, I just think it is a great premiere to set up the season. I think it worked well for like the first 3 episodes. You know, they kind of not drop the vibe, but the vibe lessens in the latter half of the season. So I'm going to give it an 8.7 out of 10. Anyways, at number 17, this is going to be a controversial one. The pilot. Season 1, Episode 1. Now listen, I didn't watch the series as it came out. If you can, I didn't watch it when it came out. So I don't have the hype of finding out that Omni-Man's the twist villain. Because I already knew. I'm not going to say it's a perfect pilot. Because I already knew about the things and what the flaws would bring. Now I will say one thing. This episode, very interesting. I think the superhero world and stuff like that brought up in this episode was really great. And I'm kind of sad that it doesn't really develop on that much more, you know? Oh, wait, I forgot. Episode 2 had the Teen introduction. Anyways, sorry. But I think this episode worked really well as a hook into the series, yes. But I do have some problems with it. I mean, like, sure, the gardening stuff, it's interesting, but it's a bit expository, where we have a scene with each one and have them explain who they are and what they do. Specifically Red Rush. Like, you're telling this to your girlfriend, who has been with you for a while, and presumably you've given her this conversation that you experience things very slowly. But whatever. Like, there's some things like that, but I just have problems with expository dialogue. But I will say, I think there is something that could have been done. They could have just had the Guardians, be in the episode and develop the characters that way. So when we see them killed off, it works better. But, hey. And still, there's no, other than that, I don't have any flaws with this episode. I'm just saying, I don't think it's perfect. I'm going to give it an 8.8 out of 10, which is the same rate I'm giving to the Invincible episode, Season 3, Episode 7. How do I not yell at this? Okay, it's a great episode. It has some great aspects. Steven Yeun is giving a spectacular performance. And there's some great stuff with the Invincibles. I'll just start with my critiques, because honestly, what I'm going to be so mad about this episode is not the critiques. Sure, is Mark kind of just completely an idiot in this episode? Absolutely. You're just gonna sit with your girlfriend, your superhero girlfriend, in the safest place on Earth, while you let every other Invincible variant kill the entire world. What a genius. And he's like, what'd you say to me? To Oliver when he was like, at least it's not my fault. Yeah, it is your fault. You just let the world die. Like, shut up. I'm sorry. Mark is kind of insufferable in this episode. Like, And Angstrom Levy is a bad villain. I'll just say, his writing is way too inconsistent. His character morals are way too inconsistent. I was talking to someone this, and he's like, well, he had to break his morals to beat Invincible by having all these other Invincibles, but it doesn't make sense. He had 1,000 of himself, or I'm pretty sure they said 1,000. Hundreds of himself in a machine. He had all their minds. You know what all of them had? A hatred toward Invincible. He worked with Invincibles that killed his family. That doesn't make sense. Like, it's stupid. It doesn't make sense for his character at all. And when people give the excuse, well, he's crazy, he's not supposed to be stable. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. You can't just refresh a character for whenever you want to use them and break every single thing said about that character and give the excuse of, well, they're crazy. Like Bullseye from Daredevil. You know who he is? He's a psychopath. He's insane. Every single thing he does makes sense for his character, and it's good. You can be psychotic and still have certain character traits that you need to follow. You can't just break everything set up about you because, oh, he's mentally insane. That's not how that works. It's not how good writing works. And then, here's my next problem. It's an outside the show thing, but everyone overrates this episode. How? How does this have a 9.7 out of 10 on IMDb? You know how insane that is? I'll set this. There is one episode of superhero television outside of Invincible to have a 9.7. You know what that is? Remember It. Which, that's also way too high. Like, I'm sorry. Remember It. Perfect. 10 out of 10 episode. Yeah. Not at the level of some other ones. Okay. I'm going to do a short list. This isn't going to be short. I'll warn you. And I'm not going to clarify what shows you're... Okay, actually I will. So, let's shows. From Daredevil, we have... I'm not going to list every episode there, but I will list some. From Daredevil, we have Enter Ring, Cutman, Condemned, Shadow in the Glass, Speak of the Devil, Daredevil, Path of the Righteous. Let me think. Oh, Bang, Dogs to a Gunfight, I think it's called. A New York Times, Penny and Dime, Guilty as Sin, 7 Minutes in Heaven, Man in the Box, Cold Day in Hell's Kitchen. When I tell you every single episode from Daredevil Season 3, I'm not kidding. I would take every single episode of Daredevil Season 3 above the Invincible War. Hands down. It's not even close. It's not even close. Okay. Continuing. Let's start Punisher. The last 4 or 5 episodes, just all of them. Roadhouse, of Season 1. Roadhouse Blues, Troubled Waters, Whirlwind, something else. Jessica Jones, a.k.a. WWJD, a.k.a. Sinbin, a.k.a. 1000 Cuts. These aren't all the episode names. If you've ever seen Jessica Jones, it's a.k.a. Anyways, aka Camera Friendly, I think it's called, aka The Sandwich Saved Me, aka You're a Winner, like episodes like that. The Flash has Out of Time, Enter Zoom, Enter Flash Time, Last Temptation and Barry on Part 1. I can go on. Like, honestly, I don't want to go on. I have made a list before, with, like, in a comment section of a YouTube video, of, like, almost 100 episodes, and those are just ones that I find to be a good amount better. There are many more that are better. Like, I was missing a lot from those shows. Like, those weren't the only episodes from those shows better. There were a lot more. I'm sorry. Okay, let's continue on. 8.88. Number 15 is Season 2, Episode 5. This is the episode where, the aftermath of the previous one, and, mainly the biggest thing in this episode is the Guardian's death. But I am mad that literally none of the Guardians died, so it's, like, honestly, this series, I feel like that's a problem with character deaths. Ever since Season 1, characters it doesn't really matter if you die. Like, Rex is the only example I can think of in the past 3 seasons of the main character who's died. I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. I just can't think of any now. Speaking of Rex's death, some of the problems don't make sense. But that's Invincible War problem. I already explained my hatred for that episode, even though it is a great episode. Anyways, this episode is also an 8.8 out of 10. It's great. Okay, next one is another controversial one that is also overrated, not by ratings, but by the people. It's not a 10 out of 10, but it is Season 4, Episode 8, aka the finale. Okay. Yes. A dumb critique of this episode is there's no action. That's not what makes the episode, I wouldn't even say bad. It's the worst of the finales, sure, but it's not bad. But what makes this episode lesser than the past few is that it's not the best. I mean, like, Paul and Debbie breaking up off screen is an utterly atrocious idea that I have no idea who thought that would be a good thing to do. Someone must have, but they were wrong. Let's just say that they were wrong. What else? Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. The PTSD scenes. Okay. I got sick of them real quick. Like, the first one's enough. We get the memo. We get the memo. You don't need to cut off really good and interesting scenes to have your PTSD scenes that are useless. Literally useless. Past the first one, we get the memo. Honestly, I think it's done much better in the comics. Comics that you just figure it out. Like, honestly, I don't want, like, you could have done it better, but we didn't need 50 PTSD scenes. I came up with a better idea in my head, and now I'm forgetting it as I have ranted on. But still, you don't need 50 PTSD scenes. It's just not good, you know? Okay. But otherwise, I mean, the final scene's amazing, and there are great stuff with episodes. I'm going to get 8.9 out of 10. Now, we have not gotten to the 9th. Okay, Season 3, Episode 6, the Powerplex episode, really kind of slept on. Powerplex is a great villain. Aaron Paul does a great job. I really like the family stuff. Invincible is not that insufferable in this episode. It also has a really great title card joke and things like that. There's just a lot of greatness stuff. There's just a lot of greatness in this episode, so I'm going to give it an 8.9 out of 10. Again, number 12. Now we get to 9.0s. And at number 12, we have Season 2, Episode 2. Well, I do have a personal bias for this, and the fact that I hate the Cecil Mark debate. Real quick rant. This is not how you write a no-kill rule debate. It kind of just makes Mark idiotic and quite insufferable, if you ask me. I can't kill anybody. Oh, I have this moral high ground. But, oh wait, I'm just gonna keep him in prison for the rest of their life where they can break out, where they're not gonna do any good for the society, where basically I'm doing nothing to them. Personally, I find it, if you're gonna be a no-kill rule, have a rehabilitation thing. Like, the idea of Mark having no-kill rule, but also no rehabilitation, is absurd. You can't just, I think that is a stupid ideology from Mark, and how he fights on it. How I get it fits on character. My problem does come with the fact that no one challenges him. Early in the season, no one challenges him. And shut up about the Guardians being like, some of the Guardians being like, Cecil was right. That's not what they're challenging Mark on. They're saying that Mark went too far into breaking into the Pentagon, which is absolutely true, you know? You can't just break into the Pentagon. But no one challenges Mark on any of his ideas. Everything. And also, Cecil and Mark, neither of them are proven right. You know, neither of them. Neither of them are proven right, neither of them are proven wrong. You're supposed to give an answer to that. I guess it's up to your idea. But you should at least show both sides. For example, Daredevil Season 2. It gave a great example of this. The Matt vs. Punisher debate is one of the best things in all of the MCU, all of comic book shows, and much better than anything in Invincible. Sorry. I'm getting my gears grinded with this one. By the way, I like this episode. I think it's a fantastic episode. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, like, in that, Punisher's like, I'm gonna kill these people. They're gonna break out there. They're gonna do terrible things. They don't have good in them. They have done terrible actions. They need to be killed now. And that's his idea. And Matt is like, well, I'm gonna let the legal system deal with him. And because there is, in every bad thing, there's a spark of dust. There's a spark of light in there, you know? And Matt, also, here's one good thing. Matt's actually consistent on his morals. Unlike Invincible, who's a hypocrite, like with his father, who also no one challenges him on that. Other than Invincible's hypocrisy, Matt actually is somewhat hypocritical, but he's not. He actually holds on to his beliefs. For example, he was actually going to let Fisk be mayor, and he was going to let him do his job and do what he wanted to, because he believes in rehabilitation. If Fisk says he's trying to be better, okay, let him be better. Bullseye says he's trying to do better. You know what Matt's letting him do? Be better. Elektra and Stick are trying to do better. What does Matt do? Let them be better. Unlike Mark, where he's like, put him in jail if they did bad things. Oh, I'm going to forgive my father. Sorry. I still hate this. It's just not good. Also, in both scenarios, Punisher is proven right by Fisk. Wilson Fisk is the perfect way to prove Punisher right. This dude's a monster, and if Matt just killed him at the end of Season 1, there would be many lives that we have gotten to know that'd be alive, you know? And if it weren't for Matt's ideology, there would be some people who would be in the grave and wouldn't be rehabilitated, like Elektra, like Stick. You could argue Ray Nadeem. And Bullseye and some of his actions in this new season, Born Again. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, just be consistent with your writing. Just do this. Just don't do the Cecil versus Mark debate. Okay. 9 out of 10 episode. I really like it. I just had to rant about that. Anyways, Season 1, Episode 5. Okay, well, it is a Titan storyline, which that part of the episode's not good at all. Okay, the ending with Battle-Beast is awesome. yeah, the ending was amazing. That was just great. Battle-Beast just coming in where Mark just screams, "Who's next?" and Battle-Beast just swaps him down. It was great. Honestly, I don't have much to say other than Battle-Beast is awesome. So 9.2 out of 10. Yeah. Okay, number 10 is the Season 2 finale. Honestly, I really like multiverse stuff. Like I said, well, sure, there could be a bit more to it. But it's still really good. And the final fight is good. Here's another problem. How the hell did Angstrom survive? Sometimes Invincible's gore goes too far. For example, having an entire human's worth of blood spill out of Angstrom's head, out of his head, and split it open, yet having him live, that's too much. I'm sorry, like, sure, I could deal with it with Mark. Kinda, maybe. Not really, though. With the whole, well, a Viltrumite, if they have a heart and brain, they're living. I was like, okay, fine. Whatever. This I'm not dealing with. Like, that's absurd. Angstrom should be dead. And he should have stayed dead. And if he did stay dead, he'd be a great villain. But other than that, honestly, I think it's a fantastic episode. I really love some of the things, especially Angstrom and the statistics he has on Mark's life, like how most Marks turn evil and how there's 0 Olivers. You know, neat fact. Also, Mark met Batman. Okay, 8.3, or 9.3. Okay, next up at number 9 is Season 4, Episode 6. Okay, here's my mole rant, although I'm going to get short. Yes, the mole reveal is terrible. You can't just have it be some random character called Data Twin 2. You can't just have that happen. And it had no build-up, had nothing to do with it, and that's why a lot of the events happen in the series, and there's just some really dumb things. Like, the Mark, which I'll get some good. The Mark and all the Nolan and Oliver stuff is spectacular. Some of the Viltrumite scenes are great, while the Battle of Thraxa is very poorly animated. Telestra, while it's very poorly animated and not done well in the slightest, it's still a nice scene. Anyways, let's rant about the mole again. Okay, so it's terrible. I'm kind of saying how it's terrible. Now I want to just debunk the defenses that people often give for these two. The first defense can be that, oh, well, isn't it realistic that a mole is not the top dog, not the number one player in your system, and the mole should actually be unspotted? Okay, here's my thing. Sure, realistically, yeah, your mole shouldn't be your number one official, right? The head of your show. You should be powerful enough and have some influence, but not too powerful that you're suspicious, right? Okay, that's realistic. That's real life. We're talking about a show with flying aliens. Like, no. Realism is not always good. Because I think I've said this before when I was actually reviewing the episode. Real life is really boring. Yeah. Like, of course, like the big historical events like war. That's interesting, sure. It's not. Your day-to-day life. Like, if you really want to write a show based off all these characters, like, if Breaking Bad wanted to be realistic in its writing, that show would not be interesting because a dude with cancer is not that interesting. Sure, he's making meth, and we can push that aside. But, like, still, that's not interesting. Real life can be uninteresting. Also, sometimes realism is not the way to go. Sure, it would be more realistic that a nobody that no one cares about would be the mole. But it's not good writing. You have no setup. You have no anything, no relationship to his character. You have no setup that he's the mole, and he has no impact on the story. That's who our mole is. I'll give an example. Knives Out, one of my favorite movies of all time. I think is a pure masterpiece. Okay. This would be like, instead of, spoiler alert, Ransom is the murderer. Instead of Ransom being a murderer, who had amazing details and things built up to him, and we had a great character development with him, it was that random, the random, kid that they called the Nazi boy? It was that dude. You know how I can't even say his name? Because he had no character development other than being, to quote, an alt-right troll. He had nothing beyond that, other than one plot detail where he's like, oh, and Ransom said, he'll take the money from the will. That's not exactly what I said. I just forgot what he said. Like, that is the only thing that he has to do with the plot. Because he's a useless character that no one cares about. This would be like if you take him, make him the murderer. Sure, no one would suspect him because there are no clues, there's no nothing, and there's no character to him. You see how that's bad? And also, another one that I see going around is... there's two more. Another one that I see going around is... actually, if you didn't guess it, it's terrific writing. No. Like, is Hans from Frozen terrific writing because no one guessed it? No. No one guessed it because it was really bad writing. Because they didn't show in any clues for this character. And honestly, this is even worse because they didn't show in any clues, at least well... And it's a nothing burger character. Hans, at least, was important. And then the second one is people being like, this was in the being like, this is in the comics, and then giving the stupid peace sign emoji. I hate that emoji when people use it in a nonchalant way. Ugh. No. Yeah, this is in the comics. Does that mean that I can't critique it now? Because, what, the comics are the holy grail? Did nothing wrong? Even Kirkman thinks the comics did something wrong. That's why he changed things from the comics. So, but no. It was in the comics. So, it's perfect. Nothing can be wrong. It feels in the comics. I've seen that so many times. So many likes by people. And I'm like, just because it's in the comics doesn't, like, I'm critiquing both. You're not just critiquing one thing. You're critiquing both. You know? Oh, God, I'm talking to my thing on cough. Anyways. Did I establish how I really like this episode? I think it's a fantastic episode. 9.4 out of 10. Okay, number 8 is Season 2, Episode 4. A really underrated banger. Omni-Man coming back. He had that amazing moment where he was telling Marco, he was like, why do you make me feel like this? I thought it worked really well. I thought it was really amazing. The facts and stuff and the Viltrumite stuff, all great. I'm just kind of tired out from my, 5 rants in this video. Overall, it's a fantastic episode. 9.4 out of 10. Again, number 7 is Season 3, Episode 4. We're having common trend with Episode 4s. Actually, no, we aren't. The last 2 were, bottom 4s. Anyways, this episode is really amazing. I really love it. All the stuff with Alan and the Omni-Man and the Viltrumites, that was all great. I loved it all so much. And the immortal stuff was also pretty good. Sure, the time-traveling characters are a little random and no one cares. And this is kind of where Eve just becomes Mark's girlfriend and does nothing. But, hey, I'm not going to touch on that. But I do really love the Omni-Man and Alan stuff in this episode. Honestly, my only problem is how the next season just kind of really nerfs Alan. But, hey. Personally, I think this is a fantastic episode. Probably my second favorite from season... No, not probably. My second favorite from season 3. Anyways, at number 6 is season 4, episode 2. Honestly, I take everything I said about the Alan Omni-Man stuff, put to this episode. Except I have one problem and one glowing positive. But the one problem is a pretty big problem. The Ragnar stuff just did not work. Not at all. Okay, the fight's kind of a little bit boring. You're kind of doing the exact same thing for 5 minutes. And the way they were stopped was the most dumb thing. And this is saying something because I've complained about some stupid writing in this show. This is the most dumb thing I've ever seen in this show. One tiny ship blocked out the entire sun and froze the Ragnars. Oh, that's about to sound. Like that. How exactly did we do that now? I didn't realize, an airplane could block out the entire sun. That's essentially what's happening. Also, them immediately unfreezing. That's not how light works. Light takes a while to travel. And just same logic. Light takes a while to travel. They'd still be warm. They wouldn't freeze immediately. And the fact that they did freeze immediately is still stupid. Why is your tiny spaceship blocking out the entire star? It makes no sense. But hey, it's still a great episode. That's just a big flaw for it. It felt very plot armor-y, Like I said, they just can't let anyone die. To be fair, I don't want Alan and Omni-Man to die. I'm just saying they can't let anyone die. Okay, that's the cough I needed. My glowing positive is everything with Scourge Fires. Omni-Man's reaction at the end of the episode, because we get to see his past, was immaculate. Sure, the scenes with the kids and then the fight scene, it was a great scene. It was a really great scene. Not the best, but the scene of the Scourge Virus was just, wow. Seeing it from Nolan's perspective really works. I mean, when Alan says, how do you make me feel bad for Viltrumites? That's true. You did kind of feel bad for these Viltrumites. Overall, this was a fantastic episode. One of the best of the series. 9.5. And number 6 is Season 1, Episode 7. Number 5. Okay, Season 1, Episode 7. Season 1, Episode 7 is at our number 5 spot. And I have nothing wrong with this episode. That doesn't mean it's perfect. I mean, I have no complaints, sure. I mean, Amber's in it. I'm pretty sure Amber's in it. Which, that's a complaint. But, I mean, real complaints, I have nothing. But hey, you can have an episode with no complaints, but it's just fantastic. I mean, some of the Omni-Man stuff was just amazing. Omni-Man is the best villain in the show. Thrag will never surpass him. Thrag, while being a good villain, will never, ever be a great villain, okay? I'll say it. He'll never be a great villain. Anyways, Omni-Man this season was so good. I loved it here with him. The Hail Mary fight was great. Honestly, the whole Omni-Man stuff with them trying to stop him was just great. And I loved how Mark was going to know it just worked so well. Honestly, the season 1 is definitely the most well-built season of the show, which, I mean, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but hey, it works. You know, season 4 is the closest because the last half is actually well-structured, but this season 1 still overtakes by a mile in how structured it is. Honestly, I just think this episode's a fantastic episode. I'm going to give it 9.6 out of 10. Next episode, this is going to be a controversial one. Episode 8 of Season 1. Yes. I'm not giving this episode 10 out of 10. I'm not saying it's the best piece of animation ever. I'm not saying it's a masterpiece. I'm not even going to give it a 10 out of 10. I think I said that. And I'll explain why. The Omni-Man fight, well, it's not like the best thing in animation. Like, I think people kind of, you're kind of insane. No, not kind of. You are insane. But my biggest problem comes from the 15 minutes afterwards, which I'm going to rant. I know. Every good episode I have a rant for, and it makes it seem like I hate these episodes. Like, the past, since like 24, I've been really enjoying these episodes, but I've had a rant in like every other one. But I will say, the Omni-Man fight, spectacular. The, what will you have in 500 years moment is the best moment in the show, and it won't be surpassed in a long time. I don't think it will be surpassed till, like, the end of the comic book series with a certain character. Like, there's not much that is better than that scene. It is immaculate. It is masterclass of a scene. Now, and the fight is just amazing. And the animation here is actually good. You know, that's a rare thing to say about Invincible. So overall, I love those first, 35, 40 minutes? 30 minutes? My biggest problem comes from the last 15. Why? Or not even last 17. Like, why do they exist? I'm not kidding you. Those 17 minutes are the most irritating minutes of this entire show. Not because it was the worst ever. Like, I think it dropped off from, 10 out of 10 content. 10 out of 10, best of show content. To, 7.5 out of 10. It's not the worst thing in the show. I'm just saying it's not good. It's definitely not good. First of all, the Amber scenes just kind of suck. That one Eve scene wasn't that good. And then the scene with Amber, Eve, and William is useless because we already had a scene of Mark expressing his feelings to Amber and Eve, but now we're having them all together plus William. We should have just had that scene to start. We didn't need Amber and Eve in those first two scenes, which is my biggest problem. Those last 15 minutes are redundant. I have just redundancy of they kept on repeating ideas in multiple scenes in 5 minutes. They're useless, and i.e. they just don't matter. They just literally don't matter to the story, or nothing that helps you and develops the plot or makes the episode better. Or character relationships or anything. They're just useless. And then third one is bad writing. They just aren't well written, which is the Amber scenes. Except the Amber scenes have all three, except maybe uselessness. You can border on that. So that's my biggest problem. If I can give an example, it's Legion's pilot, except a lot worse. Legion's pilot, the first 55 minutes of it are pure perfection. I think it is a 10 out of 10 perfect start to a series. Then last 15 just drag so much with scenes that aren't useless, but they so could have just been in another episode. And yeah, that's my biggest critique. I will rewatch this episode because of how many people are gaslighting me into thinking they're important. They're not important. They are redundant, they're useless, and they're poorly written. And I just cut myself. Ow. Anyways, still, truly spectacular episode. I'm going to give it a 9.7 out of 10. We're getting close to the 10 out of 10s now. And at number 3, her taking our bronze medal, is Season 4, Episode 5. Let's just start off. Some of the character work in this episode is brilliant. Okay, while the Debbie argument scene does get lessened by Episode 8, it's enhanced by the next episode, so it balances out. The way it gets lessened is how it's kind of just useless because she's most definitely taking back Nolan. And ruining, in my opinion, just kind of ruining her character arc for past 3 seasons. But whatever. Oh my god, that scene with Sandra Oh's acting, which I found out her voice actor's name now, so I'm good. It was top 4 scene of the show for me. I think it was truly immaculate. Whew, that argument scene is just peak. The scene with Art too is great. Yeah. Well, I do have some weird things about Oliver Invincible going from forgiving him fully last season to now being like, oh, we don't like you. Come on, stick to it. You can't just change your character's motive on a pretty big thing in their life just cuz. But anyways, that may be my only flaw. The Conquest rematch fight was great, and when I still have my critique, I'm just, like, it's gory. Like, it's bad. But, like, people saying it's, like, the worst thing they've ever seen in a show. I would agree. But to be fair, I think live-action gore will always be worse than animated gore because it's more realistic. For example, while scenes are, like, for Daredevil, I know I keep on bringing up Daredevil. But, hey, come on. It's just a perfect show. And it's a comic book show. I have an excuse. Like, Daredevil, like, Kingpin crushing someone's head with a car door or blowing it open like a watermelon. Both of those scenes are a lot more gruesome and a lot more violent and a lot more gory and a lot more frightening, in my opinion, than, like, this Conquest fight. Like, the animation is not what scares me. It's the noises. That's it. But, like, I'm not, like, generally, like, when Fisk killed Commissioner Gallo, I, like, paused the TV and just got out. I'm like, I got to process that. Like, this, I was just like, oh, ew. That's how I feel about anime gore. But that's a side plot, But anyways, I did truly love this episode, and I feel like I'm just not talking about it enough. You know what they say, it's a lot easier to complain than to love. Yeah, that's most definitely true. But sometimes you love something so much that swings the other way, and you can talk about it a lot. Anyways, on my number 2 is Season 3, Episode 8. Okay, while I do think the Conquest fight is just worse than the Nolan fight, I think it just doesn't drag as much or even at all. I think it is just consistently fantastic and consistently spectacular. Also, last episode is a 9.9 out of 10. Anyways, I think it's consistently fantastic and consistently really well done with some actually great animation. I'm happy. But yeah. Also, Adam Eve. This isn't a problem for the episode, but it's most definitely a problem for the series. What the hell is wrong with her? Why are you making pink glass? I'm sorry. Adam Eve should solo every character on the show without question. She could make Thrag. She could make you into Play-Doh. Your blood to Play-Doh. Or your air that you breathe into carbon monoxide. Like, you're done. Like, you are done. I'm sorry. It's just completely absurd how nerfed Eve is. But that's actually not a problem here, because this is most definitely her best episode when it comes to powers. It just leads to more problems down the line and beforehand, because the writers have no clue how to write powers, Okay, even the good part, I'm still hating on this show. No, I really love Invincible, and if you're getting my constant rants as I hate the show, there's 12 episodes above a 9. I lied to you. There's 12 episodes 9 and higher. Okay, that's very impressive for me. Okay, and I just normally talk about episodes that really. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, personally, I think it's a perfect episode. The animation locked in, and the Conquest fight. I mean, people forget how good of a villain Conquest is. I mean, like, as much as the "I'm so lonely" speech became a meme, it's an incredibly written scene with Conquest, and it turns this pretty one-faceted character into a 2D, no still character, just a threat to Mars, into a very multifaceted character. I mean, sure, there's not much to explore with him because he appears meaningfully in 2 episodes, but hey, who's gonna complain? And not me. But the best episode in the series is Season 4, Episode 7. Yes, the action is spectacular, and while there are some problems, like why does Tech Jacket never shoot one of the dorks at Thrag? Why does Space Racer not just aim his gun at Thrag and just in some random area? He had the opportunity of surprise. But, hey, those are nitpicks at best. So, well, let's talk about why it's spectacular. The fights. It's the fights. That's all amazing. Mark and Nola, the end of the episode is also crazy with the fact that the Viltrumites are on Earth. It works insanely well. And it's also just, at some point, really well written. I mean, there's the neat scene of characters when they're like, this could be our final meal, and they're talking about that. That was great. Tech Jacket actually did stuff. And there's some just really good writing in this episode. Like the Thrag and Nolan scene, maybe my favorite of the episode. I thought it was just an incredibly written scene, and they bring up many great points. Sure, the animation in this episode is quite lacking, which kind of sucks that we just didn't lock in at all and didn't give good animation, but hey, who's one to judge? Me, I'm one to judge. That was so cringy. Why did I say that? Why? Why did I say that? Anyways, yeah, overall, like, this episode is pure hype. That's also in our like, episodes being awesome is a great reason. But honestly, this is probably my favorite episode. No, this is my favorite episode of the show. You could probably put the Conquest one above it, because they're kind of in the same area. They have spectacular fight scenes, but also some truly amazing character moments. But, hey, who's one to judge? Yeah. I think it was perfect. Those past 2 were perfect 10 out of 10s. Now, I will say, for it being one of the greatest comic book shows, like, it's my 6th favorite comic book show of all time, I would say. But in my top 7, it's probably the one with the least 10 out of 10s, you know, which is odd, you know. Even shows with, like, way less episodes, like Loki. I have, like, that show has, like, 3 10 out of 10s in my opinion, and it's only 12 episodes. Invincible, you slacking. Anyways, yeah, bye. I'm done. I'm gone.